I know I said I wasn't going to make any more videos, I guess until the summer or whatever. But I got a couple of days to go, about a week before I have to report back to the salt mines. And so there was something I wanted to talk about real quick. I actually probably will make a couple of videos because there's some stuff that I want to address. Just about me. A lot of my videos, all of my videos are pretty much, they're pretty silly, they're stupid, they're not serious. I very rarely will talk about anything at length, in depth about me, about the person behind Trey Deep, the character, who's probably pretty much just an amalgamation of a lot of the experiences and just the tactile things that I've done in my life. A good portion of the real me is there, but rarely will I talk about it on this channel. That brings me to something that I was watching while I was watching a channel of an individual that I subscribed to earlier today, and she was talking about depression and an experience she had when she was younger about being hospitalized, and it really sort of I don't know, Miss Andrews kind of motivated me to talk about maybe some of my own personal issues, about some stuff that I had going on. And while I've never been hospitalized, I began to think a lot about how in the African American community, in most communities, mental health is stigmatized, but especially in the African American community, where very rarely do people and individuals seek out help from therapists, or seek out therapy of any kind, because of what's associated. It's usually, it's frowned upon or looked at, as those other people go to therapists. We don't need it. But the truth is that we do, because a lot of our social ills, I think, come from bad decision making and lack of ability to work through the decision making process. And so you wind up with a lot of individuals, including myself. I am no different. And I need to check this and make sure that I did not start the timer. Okay. What are we looking at here? All right. A lot of us, I'm going to try and make this really quick. I don't want this to go over a whole lot of time. But a lot of us will not seek the help, like I was saying. And, me, for example, as a youth, I was a very, very sad individual. I do remember a time when I was pretty happy and pretty carefree, but up to a point after that, I became very sad, just profoundly so. And I've often looked or tried to pinpoint where it began for me, and I can pretty much surmise that I had a couple of things going on. My parents had gotten divorced, and then sometime after that, about, I don't know, a year or two after that, I wound up being privy to, or I watched a guy commit suicide in front of me. And so, while no one should ever have to watch that, that can be extremely detrimental to a child. And after that, I did actually, my mom, I will say that she did take me to therapy. And I did one session, but it didn't do anything really for me. I mean, it's just, she pretty much figured it was a waste of our time. And she had sent me, it's actually a funny story now, but at the time it was kind of scary. After the accident where I had watched the guy commit suicide, I began to sleepwalk and mumble and whatnot in my sleep and have dreams. And well, a couple of times my mom had caught me sleepwalking, and then this last occasion, I was actually she actually caught me in the kitchen. I was asleep, standing up in front of the stove, and I had turned on all the fire. I had turned on all the eyes of the stove, and so that can be a pretty creepy thing to watch. And as I got older, through junior high and beginning of high school, was somewhat depressed, but I kind of pretty much writ it off. Like I said, I didn't. I was sad, but I didn't really know how to express it because I wasn't a very expressive individual to begin with. I was the kind of person who was real quiet, shy, kind of kept things to myself. And as I got older, some of that started to begin to manifest into somewhat violent behavior. I was getting in fights at school. I'd gotten shot, and so I wound up going and playing sports. Got into football, and that was pretty much like free therapy. I played linebacker, and if you're familiar with American football, that's pretty much a license to kill. And so for 60 minutes every week, I got to go out and take my frustrations out on, from life on some unfortunate soul who happened to be in my way with the ball. Just take their head off, and I enjoyed it. And that was pretty much my therapy and my therapist up until and through college. You know, I would not recommend such violent behavior for people, but it worked for me. It kept me level, it kept me sane. I was beating up on people, and it worked. When I left college, I was no longer playing football. The demons began to manifest themselves again, and because I did not have an outlet for it, I will not. Let me see. I actually tried. I did martial arts for a while. I did Kempo, and I did some full contact stuff, and that worked for a while. But then I got tied up with work and other things, and I had to wind up letting that go. And when I didn't have an outlet any longer, I began to use alcohol, and alcohol became a very big part of my life. And what time is it? Where am I at? Okay, I'm lagging here. Alcohol became a very big part of my life, and whether I wanted to believe it or not, that had become my therapy. And up until a couple of years ago, probably I guess when my father passed, I had only then begun to sort of let it go, and not necessarily change. I think I became more or less stagnated. My sister calls it a dry drunkardness. And it's funny, actually, ironically, because she's actually a therapist now, despite all of our issues. My sister actually she's a psychologist here in Los Angeles. She confronted me, or we actually talked about this about 6 months ago, and she suggested that I go and get in therapy in an effort to make better decisions. She basically told me, she goes, Will, therapy won't necessarily heal you. It's not going to automatically make you better, but it will help you work through and make better decisions and confront the issues that you have so that they are not hindrances in your life. So with that being said, actually later on this year, I do intend to get back into therapy and find an outlet for some of the demons. But I really do wish more of us within the African American community would openly talk about these issues, because we don't. Because a lot of us have baggage, be it, you know, parental or social or economic or whatever. I mean, my mom what time is it? Ah, crap. I'm running out of time. I'm going to have to make another video.